Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Monday, April the 19th. We got a 9-game Monday slate to go over. As always guys, we're going to go team by team, go through each game, and talk about each team on this 9-game slate. I'll give you guys my early thoughts, what does stand out to me looking at this slate on Sunday night, just what stands out from each team. So before we get started with the breakdown, as always, I would appreciate it if you would hit that like button down below. If you are new to the channel here, be sure to click that subscribe button as well and click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also do get notified every time I live stream. Should be live this afternoon around 4:30 Eastern time. So if you guys want to tune into the stream, I'll be live answering all you guys' questions, talking through the slate once again. We'll do all that in the live stream Monday afternoon. But yeah guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's go ahead and take a look at tonight's slate. So we'll start off with the Cleveland and Detroit game. This is a pretty appealing game, mainly on the Detroit side. Not much interest for me from Cleveland. Overall, I don't see anything that stands out as like a top play from this Cavs team. Everyone kind of feels, priced about right. Nobody really stands out at their price point. Kevin Love, at 6,500, maybe you could go to. His minutes, they've been creeping up a little bit. He did play 30 minutes last game against the Bulls. My best guess would get around 30 minutes from Kevin Love. He's been around a point per minute player this year with the Cavs. It's 6,500. He's a fine option, but I don't see any core plays or any top options coming from this Cavs team. There's so many teams today there's a lot of questionable guys. There's some teams that are shorthanded. This Cavs team, basically, they're at full strength outside of Larry Nance being out. And Larry Nance being out, I really don't think changes that much at all, given, where everybody's priced at. So we can go ahead and talk about the Detroit side, which is where most of my interests, or really all of my interests in this game is coming from. So on Detroit, Jeremy Grant, Corey Joseph, Mason Plumlee, Wayne Ellington, Rodney McGruder, Dennis Smith Jr., and Sekou Doumbouya are all going to be out for Detroit. This is a team that still has a good amount of bodies. They still have, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They still have 10 bodies, so it's not like they're going to be super shorthanded or anything. But, with all these guys out, that definitely gives way to, guys like Isaiah Stewart, Saddiq Bey to see really big minutes. Isaiah Stewart, I think, is the first guy that I want to start with from Detroit. His price has come up a little bit, 5,200, but he's just been a really good point per minute player this year. Even last game against Washington, with Plumlee playing, we still got 24 minutes from Isaiah Stewart off the bench that game. He was very productive, had 41 DK points in that time. When Plumlee was out against OKC that day, we got Isaiah Stewart in the starting lineup, played 32 minutes, had 50 DraftKings points. Stewart's just a really good point per minute player. He's going to get probably 30 to 32 minutes here. At 5,200, he still feels too cheap. He still projects for probably over 6x value, because if you project him to play 32 minutes, he's going to project for around 32 DK points, if not more than that, with how productive he's been this year. So I still like Isaiah Stewart a lot, even at 5,200. I still think he's one of the top plays today. He stands out on both sides. His price also did go up on Yahoo, but even at $18, I still think he looks like one of the better center options on Yahoo today. We've seen that Isaiah Stewart has the upside when he gets the minutes, and with Plumlee out again, the minutes are going to be there for Isaiah Stewart for sure. And then Saddiq Bey, Josh Jackson, I have interest in both of them. We did see last game, when all these guys were out for Detroit, that basically the same guys that were out against OKC are out again today. In that game, we got 39 minutes from Saddiq Bey, had 34 DK points. Obviously, he wasn't great in that Washington game, but with no Grant, he should get more minutes, should be more productive. I do have interest in Saddiq Bey. Also have interest in Josh Jackson. He's been a really good point per minute player this year. Had 42 DK points last time Jeremy Grant was out. Played 27 minutes that game. We probably get around 28, 30 minutes from Josh Jackson. Should give us, around 30 DK points, if not more than that. He has the upside when he gets the minutes. Should have all the opportunity in the world with, all these guys out for Detroit. So I definitely like Josh Jackson as well. And then talking about the value, there's some decent value from this Detroit team. Killian Hayes, I think at 3,700, looks like one of the best, cheap options here. Last game with Corey Joseph out, Jeremy Grant out as well. Killian Hayes did start at point guard, played 27 minutes, had 36 DK points. I'm expecting him to start again, probably get around mid to high 20s in minutes, maybe even close to 30 minutes. He was also, really productive in that game, and he's been relatively productive this year on a point per minute basis with all these Detroit guys out. When you take all these guys off the floor, Killian Hayes has shown he can, average around a fantasy point per minute. So I do like Killian Hayes a lot for value. I think he's clearly one of the top value plays today with Corey Joseph and Dennis Smith Jr. both out. And I like him a lot on Yahoo as well. Also, super cheap over there, coming in at just $12 at the point guard position. Him and Isaiah Stewart are my two favorite plays from this Detroit team. But I do like Saddiq Bey. I do like Josh Jackson. Hamidou Diallo, I'm not as interested in. Like, he just hasn't been getting enough minutes. He's only been playing like 18 to 20 minutes a night. We just can't roster him at this point until we see him get more than 20 minutes. I mean, he's just tough to roster. Saben Lee will probably get, around 20 minutes backing up Killian Hayes. He played 21 minutes last game. He probably gets around, my best guess is that we probably get like 28 minutes from Killian Hayes and 20 minutes from Saben Lee. Those numbers, I guess, could fluctuate, but I feel better about Killian Hayes. Killian Hayes is obviously the better option, but I assume Saben Lee is going to be super low owned. So if you want to maybe fade Killian Hayes and go with Saben Lee, you could do that, but I feel like Killian Hayes is probably the guy we do want to go to. But I don't think I'm going to anyone else on Detroit, like Frank Jackson, Okafor, Tyler Cook. Like, I'm not going to these guys. Really, my main interest from this Detroit team, it's really just the starters. Hayes, Stewart, Bay, Jackson. Those are the guys I like most. We'll have to see who their fifth starter is. Last game, it was Sekou, I believe, that started. So I don't know what they're going to do with the starting lineup since Sekou's out. Like, I guess they could start Hamidou Diallo. They could start Frank Jackson. If Frank Jackson does wind up starting, then he can definitely be someone to look to for value. He did play 24 minutes when all these guys were out last time against OKC. He did have 24 DK points. So I would say that Frank Jackson's actually a pretty decent value play here, especially if he does wind up starting. So yeah, those are probably my main interests. Really, it's the starting lineup. I'm expecting Hayes, Stewart, Bay, and Jackson to all start. I have interest in all four of those guys. And then if Frank Jackson starts, he's a good value play. If they start Diallo, which I don't think they're going to do, but if they start Diallo, you could definitely look his way at 4,200. But that's probably my take on the Detroit guys. Definitely a lot to like from this Detroit team because they're shorthanded today. They're missing a lot of guys. And obviously, missing Jeremy Grant, their highest usage player, that's going to allow for a lot of these other guys to be, more productive than they normally would. So a lot to like from Detroit. That's where a lot of my interest is coming from in this game. But moving on to the next one, the Bulls and the Celtics. On the Bulls side today, there's definitely some appeal here. Vucevic at 9,900. Feels priced about right, but I feel like his upside is definitely a lot higher with Zach LaVine out. He hasn't really had any monster games with LaVine out, but did have 53 DK points against Memphis. Had that 54 DK point game against Orlando. Not the best game last game against Cleveland, but I do like Vucevic a little bit more than I normally would since LaVine does remain out. The matchup's not great, but Vuce has the upside for sure to put up 55, 60 DK points and be a good play at his price tag. Kobe White, I still have interest in as well. He actually started last game. Even with Tomas Satoransky back, they still started Kobe White, and he still played 33 minutes. He started and played 33 minutes in back-to-back games. Was really good the first game against Memphis. Came back down to earth a little bit against Cleveland last game with only 25 DK points. But if Kobe White's going to start and play 32 to 34 minutes. Without Zach LaVine, he should be a lot more productive than normal. We know this is someone that can score and can be productive when he's on the floor. So I do like Kobe White at 5,400. I would say that he's my favorite play from this Bulls team, followed by Nikola Vucevic. Outside of those two guys, I don't know if I'm looking to too much else on Chicago. Like Lauri Markkanen coming off the bench, did play 26 minutes last game, had 27 DK points. I feel like his minutes are going to fluctuate from game to game, but if he is playing well, they will definitely give him more minutes, especially without LaVine. Like there's a lot of minutes to go around. They can just run different lineups. They can play bigger lineups if they want to. They can play smaller lineups. Markkanen has a path to 25-ish minutes if he's playing well. He should be more productive without LaVine, so I don't mind him for 4,300. Daniel Tice did start again last game. Only played 23 minutes though. Like he hasn't really been that good his last two games in the starting lineup. He's still cheap at 4K. You could go there, but we already have better value today. We have these Detroit guys that I like for cheap, so I don't think I'm going to go to Daniel Tice. And like Garrett Temple, he started last game, but he didn't do much. Only 16 DK points in 28 minutes. Denzel Valentine, I would like if they'd give him more minutes, but like he only played 22 last game. I mean, Denzel Valentine's a high upside player when he does get minutes, so I guess if you want to take a shot on him, low owned option for tournaments, 3,300, you could maybe go there. Obviously this game is one that could blow out. Boston right now, we don't have a line on this game, but I would assume Boston's going to come in as pretty big favorites. So maybe if it blows out, you kind of get lucky there and you get blowout run from Denzel Valentine. I don't mind him as a low-owned tournament play, but really my main interest from Chicago's definitely Kobe White, my favorite play, and then Vucevic I have some interest in as well. But moving on to the Boston side, talking about the Celtics here. So Jason Tatum, he's probable for today. He is expected to play, but Jaylen Brown is questionable, which is a pretty big injury. He did miss their last game with an illness. He's questionable again. Kemba Walker, he is questionable as well. So it's really tough to break down this Boston team until we get news on Brown and Walker. Like, if they both play, I don't think there's a ton that really stands out from Boston. Tristan Thompson, with Robert Williams out, you can maybe go to, but last game, he did play 28 minutes, wasn't very productive though, only had 17 DK points. At 4,700, he's going to play around 25 to 30 minutes. You could go there, but, I feel a lot better about Isaiah Stewart. I think Isaiah Stewart just gives you way more upside than Tristan Thompson does. So I don't think I'm really going to get to Thompson here. Like I said, if everyone's good to go here, if Tatum, Brown, Walker, if they all play, I don't think there's anything that stands out from Boston. But if by some chance we get a scenario where like Brown and Walker are both out, then yeah, I absolutely love Jason Tatum. I would definitely want to load up on him if Brown and Walker are out. And then Marcus Smart would actually become a really good option as well for 6,700. Normally I wouldn't pay that price tag for Smart, but he would definitely have to be more productive with Brown and Walker off the floor. And then we could maybe talk about some of these value guys. I'm not sure what they would do with the starting lineup, but maybe someone like Peyton Pritchard could become a viable cheap option. He's only 3,400. Did play 22 minutes last game against Golden State with Jaylen Brown out and had 19 DK points. If Brown and Walker are both out, I actually do like Peyton Pritchard a good amount at 3,400. So it's really just a wait and see for me when it comes to this Boston team. If everyone's in, not much stands out. But if guys get ruled out, if Brown gets ruled out, or if Walker gets ruled out, then obviously the other guys become really good options like Tatum. I mean, we saw Tatum have a really good game last game with Jaylen Brown out. We saw Kemba, Smart all had really good games at their price points. Like, whenever these Boston guys, whenever one misses, like, you just play the other guys that are in because they all benefit whenever one's out. Smart's someone that, when Smart's out, it doesn't really change much, but when Kemba's out, that gives a big boost to Smart, Brown, and Tatum. When Brown's out, that gives a boost to Kemba, Smart, Tatum. Like, yeah, I mean, we just got to wait and see here what happens. Really, it's just a wait and see for me when it comes to this Boston team. Moving on to the next game, though, Golden State and Philadelphia. So talking about Golden State here, really, really important injury on the Golden State side. Steph Curry currently questionable. Obviously, this is something that impacts a ton. Curry, if he winds up getting ruled out, would probably make Jordan Poole the best value play on the slate, 4,500. We saw, when Curry was out for that stretch of however many games, I mean, Jordan Poole was someone that was producing, 30, 40 DK points a night. His price got up to around 6K. He would definitely be underpriced today if Curry were to wind up sitting out. If Curry were to rest as well, or wouldn't rest, but if he were to be out, that would definitely give a boost to Andrew Wiggins, give a little boost to Kent Bazemore too. Kelly Oubre is also currently questionable. If Oubre winds up playing, then it would help him if Curry were to be out, but they said last game that even if Oubre would have played, he was going to come off the bench, which kind of makes me a bit worrisome about him, but I would assume he probably would start here if he's able to play. So this is another team, when it comes to Golden State, there's not much that stands out. I will mention Draymond Green, though. Even if Curry's in or out, I have a lot of interest in Draymond Green. I just still feel like he's too cheap at 7,300. I know he didn't have a good game last game against Boston, but we know the kind of upside that Draymond Green has. He's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet, gives you triple-double upside every night. Most nights when he's playing his normal 36, 38 minutes, he's going to give you 35, 40-plus DK points. 7,300, he still feels, a little bit too cheap. So Draymond's definitely my favorite Warrior today if Curry winds up in. But if Curry winds up out, love Jordan Poole. Would have a lot of interest in guys like Wiggins, Oubre if he plays, even Bazemore I would like. But really, Jordan Poole would definitely be the guy to go to from Golden State if Curry gets ruled out. So that really does it for the Warriors side. Now talking about the Sixers here, not much I really like on the Sixers today. Joel Embiid at 10,700. For me, he's probably going to be behind some other studs on this slate. Like, I think I'd rather play Westbrook. I think I'd rather play Giannis as well. Embiid should be able to have success against this Golden State team, no matter, who they try and put on him, whether it's Kevon Looney or Draymond Green. I mean, Draymond's a good defender, but he's definitely undersized compared to Joel Embiid. So it's a good matchup. Embiid should be able to have success. I just think there are some other studs I prefer over him today. Tobias Harris is questionable. I will mention that. I don't think it changes too much just because, Embiid and Simmons both feel priced about where they should be. Ben Simmons at 7,800. The price tag has come down a little bit on DK, but he's just been so bad lately. I mean, this guy, I haven't rostered Ben Simmons, and I can't tell you how long. I mean, I just never play him. He just hasn't been good at all. I did play him the other day on Yahoo, though. I think his price tag was really good over there, but I really don't have any interest in Ben Simmons today, even if Harris is out again. No interest in Simmons. If Seth Curry's out again, we could maybe go to Court Moss, but his price tag got jacked up way up to 4,800, so I have a lot less interest in him now that he's at this price point. But he did have a really good game last game with Seth Curry out. He did start, played 38 minutes, had 36 DK points. Really, for me, though, on Philadelphia, when it comes to the Sixers team, it's Joel Embiid for me, not too much else on the Sixers. So moving on to the next game, OKC and Washington. On OKC today, I don't see a ton that really stands out from the Thunder. This is a back-to-back for the Thunder, and we've seen on back-to-backs they will kind of rest guys. Like Lou Dort's been resting on back-to-backs lately. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets ruled out here. Darius Bazley's come back from an injury. I wouldn't be surprised if they rest him. But just assuming that everyone is good to go, I really don't see much I like from OKC. Everyone feels priced appropriately, even though it's a really good matchup against the Wizards. Like, nobody stands out as being too cheap. I know Lou Dort's been playing really well. Has had 2 really good games against Detroit and Utah. I think he kind of came back down to earth, though, on Sunday against the Raptors. I think he started off really hot, but then he kind of came back down to earth in the second half. He finished with 38 fantasy points in 31 minutes, had 29 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. I mean, Lou Dort has clearly been better than we expected. Like, without SGA and without Horford, that has definitely helped Lou Dort. His usage actually is pretty high, and he does get a lot of usage on this Thunder team. $7K, though, still feels like I just don't know if I can pay this price tag for Lou Dort. But I guess if you did force me to play anyone on OKC, it would probably be Lou Dort or Darius Bazley, one of those 2 guys. I'm not considering any other Thunder, though, I don't think. Moving on to the Wizards side, though, pretty easy to break down this Wizards team. As always, it's Westbrook, it's Beal. Not much else on the Wizards that I really like. But I do want to mention that Alex Len is currently questionable. And this is actually pretty important because Alex Len, he's their starting center. So if he were to get ruled out, there would definitely be a new starting center, whether it would be Robin Lopez or Daniel Gafford. Lately, Gafford's kind of been the guy that's been getting more minutes. Last game, Gafford wound up playing 16 minutes off the bench, was pretty productive, had 26 DK points. Robin Lopez, he wound up playing 22 minutes off the bench, had 25 DK points. If Lynn does get ruled out, that should probably leave, basically Gafford and Lopez as the 2 guys to split the center minutes, and I would assume you get around 48 minutes from those 2 guys. You probably get whichever one start, I would assume would play 26, 28 minutes, and then the other one would play 20 to 22. So if Alex Len does get ruled out, I have a good amount of interest in, whichever one of Robin Lopez or Daniel Gafford winds up drawing the start. Honestly, I hope it's Gafford just because he's a better point per minute player, and he has shown a lot of upside this season when he does get minutes. So if Gafford winds up starting, I think he's a great value play along with, Isaiah Stewart. Those would be 2 really good values that I would be looking to at center. But yeah, Westbrook and Beal, I think, are the 2. Right now, they're the 2 top options for me from Washington. And Westbrook at $11K, he's been like a top stud for me basically every slate lately. Once again, I think Westbrook's a guy I want to try and pay up for. He's expensive, but there's so much value today. It is very easy to get him in. $11K on DK, $55 on Yahoo. He's my favorite stud right now. Dude's just been so good, man. I mean, literally stuffing the stat sheet every night. Even in a blowout last game against Detroit where he only played 30 minutes, he still had 56 DK points, put up another triple-double. Like, we know we're getting big minutes from Westbrook. We know he's basically going to triple-double almost every night. The guy, literally, Westbrook's put up at least 50 fantasy points in literally 10 straight games. I mean, his floor has just been so high lately. You're getting about 50 fantasy points at worst from Westbrook. So he's the clear stud for me. At $11K, I think he's the guy I want to pay up for today. If you want to factor in the little narrative against OKC, you can, but I don't think that really matters too much here. Lou Dort's questionable, though, or not questionable, but if Lou Dort plays, that's obviously not great because Lou Dort is a very pesky defender. He's probably going to try and, lock down Westbrook, but I still like Westbrook regardless. We know Westbrook's just going to go out there and just do everything. Stuff the stat sheet. He's going to take a ton of shots. He's going to probably triple-double any night. So I still like Westbrook a lot, even if Lou Dort plays. And maybe if Lou Dort plays, he guards Bradley Beal. I don't really know. Normally, I don't look at one-on-one individual matchups, but when it comes to a guy like Lou Dort, I think it actually does matter because Lou Dort's actually a really good defender, a guy that can give these guys problems. But for Westbrook, for Beal, I don't think it matters that much. Beal, though, at 9,200, you could definitely look to. Obviously, I'm a lot less interested in him than I am Westbrook, but he's been playing better lately. We've seen some good games from Bradley Beal. Did have 50 DK points last game against Detroit in 35 minutes. If you want to go to him, I'm fine with him too, but Westbrook, I think Westbrook's definitely my top play from Washington. And then if Alex Len gets ruled out and we get Daniel Gafford or Robin Lopez starting, those guys will become good value plays as well at the center position. But yeah, we can go ahead and move on to the next game, Houston and Miami. So in Houston today, this is a back-to-back for the Rockets, but everyone should be good to go here. John Wall rested on Sunday, but he should be playing today. So with this team basically fully healthy, I don't think there's much that really stands out from Houston. Everyone feels priced about where they should be. Christian Wood at 8,600. On this slate, I don't think I'm going to go there. John Wall at 7,900. Don't think I'm going to go there. There's just too many other point guards I like today. The matchup's not great either against Miami. So overall, Houston, not a team I have much interest in today. And on the Miami side, it's kind of the same thing. I do want to mention, though, that Jimmy Butler is currently questionable. So this is a very big injury to watch. He did not play on Sunday. This is a back-to-back for the Heat. We have no idea if he's going to be in or out today. If Jimmy Butler does wind up getting ruled out, then that definitely changes my thoughts on this Miami team. If Jimmy Butler plays, I don't think there's really anything that stands out from Miami, at least not to me. But if Jimmy Butler gets ruled out, love Bam Adebayo at 8,100. He would definitely become a great center option. Had 49 DK points in 33 minutes against Brooklyn in Sunday's game without Jimmy Butler. I think Tyler Hero or Goran Dragic, one of those two guys, had a really good game as well. Yeah, Dragic had 41 DK points in 31 minutes. He played really well. Kendrick Nunn, he played 29 minutes, had 30 DK points. And then Tyler Hero, he played 25 minutes, had 25 DK points. We know when Jimmy Butler's out, all those three guys benefit. Dragic and Nunn would definitely be my two favorites just because they're cheaper. 4,800 for Dragic, 4,300 for Nunn. I'd like those guys a lot for value plays. They would definitely make a lot of sense if Butler gets ruled out. And then Bam Adebayo as a pay-up option would become a very intriguing play. But yeah, it's just a wait and see. If Butler plays, not much from Miami that I like. If Butler's out, I really like Bam, really like Dragic, really like Nunn, and I have some interest in Tyler Hero as well. But yeah, we can go ahead and move on to the next game, San Antonio and Indiana. So this is going to be a pretty quick one. I don't see much I like in this game overall. On the San Antonio side, they rested some guys last game, but today they're going to all be back. So basically this San Antonio team is at full strength, and nobody really stands out at their price point. It's a 9-game slate. There's so many other appealing spots today. There's so many other teams that are shorthanded that have, value plays that we want to target. This San Antonio team is basically full strength. I don't really see much I like here from the Spurs. And on the Pacers side, it's basically the same thing. Sabonis, Brogdon, LeVert, all healthy. Miles Turner's back. I guess if I had to play a Pacer today, it would probably be Brogdon or maybe Sabonis, but overall, this is one of my least appealing games. I just don't like much at all here. Nobody stands out from this game, in my opinion. I doubt, in my one lineup today, I doubt I play anyone from this game. So we can go ahead and move on to the next one. Don't want to spend too much time on that one. So Phoenix and Milwaukee is our next game. This is one that I have some interest in. Basically, just the studs, though. There's not much value here. Really, it's just the stud option. So Booker and Chris Paul, I think, makes some sense as low-owned tournament plays. With so many other guards that we've talked about, so many other plays. You got the Detroit guys, you got the Miami guys. If Butler gets ruled out, you got Westbrook you can pay up for. I don't see much ownership going to Booker or Paul at all today. So these are guys you can go to in tournaments. This game does have a pretty high total, 235 total. It's a game that should stay close. We should get full minutes from Chris Paul and Devin Booker. So if you want to go to them in tournaments, I don't mind them. Same could be said for DeAndre Ayton as well. He should get his normal 30, 34 minutes, somewhere around there. He's been a productive player when he does get the minutes. It's 6,800. Ayton has plenty of upside to pay off this price point when he does get the minutes. Again, there's a lot of centers, like cheap centers that we've talked about. Isaiah Stewart. You got the Washington bigs. If Alex Len gets ruled out, you got some other guys like Bam you could pay up for if Jimmy's out. But I do have some interest in DeAndre Ayton. I have some interest in Paul and Booker. But overall, I don't know if there's any core options coming from this Phoenix team, just guys that I would be using in tournaments. Now, on the Milwaukee side, for me, it's really just Giannis here, and that's it. Giannis, in his first 2 games back from his little injury stint, he was out for about a week or two. He played 25 minutes in his first game back. He was clearly limited. And then he played 29 minutes last game against Memphis. So he's seeing his minutes ramp up. My best guess is that we're going to get full minutes from Giannis here. This is a game where he should play his full minutes. It's a big-time game. It's a game that should stay close. I think we're going to get probably 33, 34 minutes from Giannis. Obviously, he is a great point-per-minute player. Put up 53 DK points in only 29 minutes last game. I feel better about Westbrook just because we know Westbrook's going to play around 40 minutes if it's a close game. But Giannis, if we do get his full minutes here, which I'm assuming we will, he's probably my second favorite stud right behind Westbrook. And it's probably, I haven't built lineups yet, obviously, but you could definitely play Giannis and Westbrook together, I think. There's already enough value to do it. So if you want to go that route, I have no problems with that. Giannis is definitely my favorite play overall from this game, and he's really the only guy that I'm interested in from this Milwaukee team. So we can go ahead and talk about the next one, Memphis and Denver. So this is one I do have some interest in. On the Memphis side, we actually have some pretty important news here. J-Val has been ruled out. Valanciunas is going to be out with a concussion. So we'll go ahead and start off with who I think benefits there. And the guy that I think does benefit is Xavier Tillman. Xavier Tillman, 3,400 on DK. Looks like one of the top value plays today. I'm assuming that he does wind up starting for Valanciunas. Probably plays around 25 to 30 minutes. We've seen when Tillman does make spot starts for J-Val that he usually is a guy that you're going to want to roster. His ceiling's not massive. Like, I don't think he's going to go out there and put up like 45 DK points or anything, but it's very likely that you get 25, 30 DK points from Xavier Tillman, which does make him a very good value play at 3,400. So if he does wind up starting for J-Val, I think with power forward and center eligibility on DK, love Xavier Tillman today as a value option. And you can also go to him on Yahoo. I don't know if he's as necessary just because he's center only over there, which really sucks. You have to use one of your two center spots to roster Tillman. And obviously we talked about Isaiah Stewart, who we really like. There's other centers we've mentioned. But I think Tillman does look like a really good value play on Yahoo as well. Overall, he's my favorite play from Memphis. With J-Val out, I don't know if that really benefits like John Morant a ton. Maybe Morant gets a little bit more usage. I don't think I'm going to roster Morant anyway today. There's just too many other point guards I prefer. But with J-Val out, maybe you see Morant get a little bit more usage. Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to make his return soon, but for today he's doubtful, so he's not expected to play today. But he should be back sometime soon. Given that he's doubtful now rather than just being ruled out. But we don't have to worry about that today. With J-Val out, that gives a little boost to John Morant, like we mentioned, gives a little boost to Kyle Anderson. Dylan Brooks is also questionable. I mean, there are a lot of guys questionable for this Memphis team. Brooks, Melton, Clark, Winslow are all questionable. Brandon Clark, if he winds up playing and he's not limited, he's someone that I actually do have interest in because I think he benefits without Jonas Valanciunas. They could maybe start him at center if he does play, so just keep an eye on that. If Brandon Clark does wind up starting at center, then I do like him a lot at 4,200. And obviously, I would be less interested in a guy like Xavier Tillman. Even if Clark comes off the bench, I think he's viable at 4,200. But we just got to wait and see. Like, if Brooks gets ruled out, I think that gives another boost to Morant and Anderson. Like, if we get a scenario where Brooks is out, Melton's out, like, if all these guys that are questionable get ruled out, then I would definitely like Morant and Kyle Anderson more than normal just because, with all these starters out, I mean, they're going to be replaced by, a bunch of low-usage guys like Desmond Bane, like, Sean McDermott or whoever this guy is. Like, I don't even know who this guy is. John Concher. Like, I would definitely like Morant and Anderson a little bit more if Brooks, Melton, Clark, if all these guys are out. But this Memphis team, tough to break down, because half their team is questionable and we don't really know what their starting lineup's going to look like. We don't know who's in or out. For me, right now, I feel like Xavier Tillman's definitely the guy that I do want to go to for Memphis, though, assuming that he does start for J-Val. So, yeah, we can go ahead and talk about the Denver side now. On Denver, there's really not much that stands out here. Jokic at 11K, you could definitely pay up for today. But there's a lot of centers I like. We've talked about Westbrook. We've talked about Giannis. I do prefer those two guys, I think, over Jokic. But without J-Val, I mean, whether it's Xavier Tillman or Brandon Clark, whoever they try and put on Jokic, I mean, it's definitely going to be a mismatch. Jokic should be able to have his way in this matchup. He is definitely my favorite play from this Denver team. I don't think I'm going to anyone else, though, like Michael Porter, Will Barton, Aaron Gordon. None of them really stand out to me. Campazzo, he should get a ton of minutes with Monte Morris and Jamal Murray both out. But do I want to pay $4,700 for Campazzo? Not really. Like, if he was cheaper, I'd maybe go there, but he's just too expensive. So really, on Denver, it's just Jokic and nothing else for me. So we can go ahead and talk about the last game on the night, Utah and LA. Utah, another team dealing with injuries right now. So Donovan Mitchell, we know, is going to be out for a couple games. He's going to be out today. Rudy Gobert and Mike Conley, though, are both probable. Even though DK has them listed as questionable, they're actually probable, so they're expected to play. So with Gobert and Conley expected to play, I think they do look pretty appealing here, especially, Mike Conley. I think Mike Conley gets a nice boost without Donovan Mitchell. He did not play last game when Mitchell was out. He rested, but we've seen in previous games this year when Mitchell has been out that, Conley's ceiling is a lot higher. I'm pretty sure, I think it was this game against OKC, Mitchell was out then. I think it was that game maybe. I can't remember. I know Mitchell missed recently. It wasn't that game, but he did miss, I think it was a week or two ago. Mitchell was out, and Conley did have a really good game. If I can find it, it might be this game against Dallas. I remember Conley had 47 or 48 DK points. It's one of those two games. But yeah, last time Mitchell was out, Mike Conley did put up around 45, 50 DK points. His upside, his floor is just so much higher with a high usage player like Mitchell off the floor. So even at 7K, I have a lot of interest in Mike Conley today. I think he looks like a really good option on Yahoo as well. $25. If you're going to the mid-range at point guard, he definitely stands out on Yahoo. And then Jordan Clarkson I like a lot as well. Now, Jordan Clarkson, he definitely benefited last game against the Lakers. He played 46 minutes in overtime. They were basically missing like all their starters. Mitchell was out, Conley was out, Gobert was out all last game. So Clarkson started, played 46 minutes, had 42 DK points. I don't know if we can expect that kind of production today, but with Donovan Mitchell out, that definitely boosts the floor and production for Jordan Clarkson. That should also boost his minutes. I assume we get around 30 minutes from Jordan Clarkson off the bench. He's also been really good with Mitchell off the floor this year. I think he did also have a really good game last time Mitchell was out. So even at 6,400, even though the price went up on Jordan Clarkson, I still like him a lot today. He's probably my favorite play from Utah, followed by Mike Conley. Both those guys, I think, stand out as solid options, though. And I do like Jordan Clarkson a lot on Yahoo. He's coming in a little bit cheaper than Conley. Conley's $25, Clarkson's $20. Maybe Conley's the safer option since he's the starter, but we know we're getting 30 minutes from Clarkson off the bench, and he should be very productive off the bench, should get all the usage, so I do like him a lot on Yahoo as well. Then Joe Ingles, I think, also benefits without Donovan Mitchell. He's going to come off the bench, or actually he'll probably start in place of Mitchell. He'll probably start, play around 30 to 32 minutes. We know Joe Ingles, whenever Conley's out, whenever Mitchell is out, and he gets spot starts, like he's really productive. Obviously, last game, 53 DK points. That's a bit of an outlier because, Mitchell, Gobert, Conley, they were all out. Conley and Gobert will be back today. But with Mitchell out, that takes a high-usage player off the floor. That allows for a guy like Ingles to get more usage, to get more opportunity, to play more minutes. Even at 6,200, I still like Joe Ingles quite a bit. So Conley, Ingles, Clarkson, have an interest in all three of those guys. I think all three are very strong options. I didn't mean to plug Ingles there. Ingles, though, on Yahoo, I do like over there. $20 on Yahoo. I think it's small forward. Very appealing that he's small forward just because the small forward position is always tough to fill on Yahoo. Joe Ingles is definitely one of my favorite small forwards on Yahoo, and I do like him on DK as well. Those are my three favorite plays from Utah, but I don't mind Gobert. I don't mind Bojan. Bojan at 5,800 feels a little bit pricey, but he should get more opportunity without Mitchell. If you want to go to him, I don't mind it. But yeah, definitely Conley, Clarkson, and Ingles are my three favorite plays from this Jazz team. And then Gobert and Bogdanovich I don't mind in GPPs as lower owned options, but I'm not considering any other Utah guys outside of those three, or those five, I guess. But moving on to the Lakers side, not much stands out from the Lakers. Obviously, LeBron and AD remain out. Andre Drummond, Dennis Schroeder, even though they're listed as questionable on DK, they're actually probable, so they're expected to play. I believe Marcus Gasol is expected to play as well. Yeah, he's probable, so this Utah or this Lakers team is basically, outside of LeBron and AD, obviously they've got everybody back. Drummond's back, Schroeder's back. Drummond is 7,100. Finally had a really good game last game against Utah. Did play 30 minutes, had 46 DK points. This matchup here against Gobert is not the best. Obviously, Gobert was out last game. This matchup against Gobert is not the best, but they're going to need Drummond's size out there. If Drummond does play around 30 minutes, I've been saying it, nights where Drummond does get 30 minutes, he's very likely to put up 45, 50 DK points like he did last game. He should be low owned on a big slate like this, so I don't mind Drummond in tournaments. I don't mind Schroeder in tournaments, but overall, there's not much that I really like from the Lakers. I think Drummond and Schroeder are just lower owned tournament plays. The rest of this team is just not appealing to me. Everyone feels priced about right, if not a little bit overpriced. Really, all my interest in this game is coming from the Jazz side. Obviously, there's guys that I like on Utah today with Mitchell out that we mentioned. So that does it for all 9 games on this slate, guys. I appreciate you watching the video as always. Hope you did enjoy the breakdown. If you did, hit that like button down below before you do get out of here. Hit that subscribe button as well. And be sure to click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload, and you also do get notified every time I go live. I should be back with a live stream Monday afternoon on my YouTube channel. Should be live around 4:30 Eastern time. So if you guys want to check the channel then, I'll be live answering all your questions, breaking down the slate once again in the live stream. But best of luck on the slate, guys. Thanks for watching the video. As always, I do appreciate your support. Good luck tonight. We'll see you in the next one.